pre-K 12 education, that means KG to 12th education. Founded in 2016, right? She's currently managing and owning the Trivandrum International School, known as TRINS, right? And now what they have also done is a very unique thing. Unique thing is they have launched one of their schools in Cochin also. So I would like Ms. Sapnu to just introduce herself, because we found it very novel that Cochin launch was very novel. As a management consultant, we found it very, very novel. So I would like Ms. Sapnu to first speak about that as an district, that what made you decide to come back to India and Kerala especially and do something?
Sorry, I just wanted to correct you. TRINS was started in 2003, so it's 17 years now. And the school that we acquired in Cochin was started in 2016. We acquired it in January. So why did I come back? I am trained as an architect. I'm sure you know that. So yeah. So I did my master's as well outside in New York, and after 7 years, I kind of decided that education was my calling. Why? Because I found it more fulfilling, and I was always actually involved with the school, even when I was in school myself and or in college. I always used to come back to the school, volunteer and teach a little bit or help out in some way. And I saw that the impact that it had on children was very, very kind of fulfilling for me. And when it was actually kind of thrust on me in a way, right after I got married, to take it up. So I came on board in 2013, and it was in a different capacity. Obviously now there was decision making capacity, and I could see that having that outside perspective was very helpful. So first I thought it was kind of a disadvantage. I didn't have age on my side, I didn't have qualifications in education on my side, but it ended up being helpful, because it gave a kind of fresh, a newer perspective, a new current perspective, and also something which the perspective of the family and the vision of my father as an entrepreneur, then the perspective of maybe the student, and why I said that maybe it's more current when I because I would have maybe graduated myself more recently than the others who were already there, and also as a parent. So I think the multiple perspectives that I was getting from all stakeholders in myself was something I found very interesting to put back into the school. And taking it forward was something that maybe needn't have been done. We could have been kind of complacent, and you talked about competition, right? Internal and external competition. We didn't have any of that. So I think sometimes that's not a good thing, because then you don't push yourself, right? And why fix something that isn't broken? So I think that was something I found interesting to take up, to ripen everything and to a point where we could scale up to the next level. And Cochin was a great opportunity, and now we have three schools.
So two very important, one very important correction. It was started in 2003. Two important observations, and now I will start my presentation. Two very important observations. Sometimes internal competition helps. It does not push you to complacency. Second, any business, if you get multiple perspectives, it's extremely useful. So thank you for a wonderful introduction, all of you all. Before I get on to a structured interview format with you all, I'll quickly share my screen and announce today's sponsor. Vivek ji, Sapnu ji, and Sheetal, Sheetal ma'am, Saraswati ma'am. We have sponsors for every event. In fact, one of the sponsors is sitting right in front of you all. Saurabh is one of the sponsors, right? And I think he has sponsored 4 such sessions. So today's sponsor, thank you, Bete Raghav, Sri Konark Group. Thank you very, very much. I've just picked up the photographs that he sent me. So this, he sent me all this. He's from Orissa, right? And his entire money that he has donated has gone to Hunger Collective, right? Here it is. This was the photographs. He sent it to me, so I've just put it up here, right? He first said a pranam to his Dadaji, right? I will like to take up the names now for 2 minutes, because the Respecting the sponsors is extremely important because thanks to them, today Hunger Collective has been able to reach out to 1.5 lakh families. 1.5 lakh families. Please note, Raghav has given the name of his Dadaji as, I may make a pronunciation mistake, but I'm sorry, Babulal ji. Okay, then he has also said pranam to his Dadiji, Lakshmi Devi ji, right? And then he says some good words about his Dadiji. He says that I have learned a lot from my Dadi, right? She was a housewife, but being a housewife also, right? I idolize also my Nani ji, right? And Nana ji, Ram Nivas Agarwal. The photographs were not sent to me. And Gayatri Agarwal, he idolizes them. He says they are my inspiration. So the grandparents are first in line for Raghav. Then he immediately thanks his next family. This is his extended family. God bless them, right? Mr. Om Prakash, right, eldest son. His uh, progeny is Shreyans, who is an MBA, Sanuni ji, right, who is an engineer and MBA from XLRI, Mr. Ramesh, who is Raghav's Tauji, Mrs. Shweta, Shagunji, Shivamji, Vishwanathji, again the third son, it's an extended family, again I repeat, that entire list he wanted me to talk about. Sangeeta ji, Raghav is my kid, he's there, right? He's had a generation, his father's name is Vishwanathji, mother's name is Sangeeta ji, and of course sister Radhika ji, he's really full of praise for Radhika ji, who's doing extremely well in academics also. And then of course, fourth son, right, is Gauri Shankar ji, wife is Jyoti ji, right? Cousins are Vishnu ji, Vishnu Vardhan ji, and Divyansh ji. This entire family is into multiple businesses. God bless them. So this is this entire thing that came up to me. This entire family is into multiple businesses. Raghav himself is doing extremely well after the course in SPJN. They started as trading clothing during the shortage era. Then in 1980, Bade Papa, Tauji and Papa started trading in paper. Konark Trading Company was established. They diversified in Cuttack, Bhubaneswar and Calcutta, eastern part of the country. We normally don't get many students from Orissa, but that's how I remember Raghav's name. Father has 4 brothers. I shared all their names. They are all together. It reminds me of the Biani family, right? Wonderful to sit and see, right, how they gel together, right? Especially when I realize what happens in other families, right? 3 brothers, 4 brothers, or this is a family of 4 brothers, right? Super distribution of garments, manufacturing of ruling paper. They are super stockists, right? For all the big paper mills in India and abroad. In garments, they do work for Jockey, right? SPJN, after SPJN, I'm proud to say our student Raghav, and I conclude this introduction, has set up a state-of-art notebook manufacturing facility, and his brands are Class Topper, A1 and Kalinga. They also contract manufacture for other brands, and now they are expanding into distribution and right, they are looking for, right, expanding into FMCG, medicine and contract manufacturing. The reason I'm saying this is, I keep saying this and I finish my introduction, I want you all to do business with each other. That's my request to all of you all. That's the reason the Telegram group has formed. Saurabh is there, Vivekji and Swapnuji will join. Of course, they are welcome to join. This is one very interesting thing that happened in the Telegram group. I asked Gani to come on board, but Gani refused to come. Gani is there in the Telegram group, and Gani is actually putting up requirements there. And one of the colleagues he has helped, and Gani does not know that I have taken this from their profile pictures, Mayur in auto components. So Gani is encouraging Mayur to export to United States. Gani is an MBA, right? He's working for a big firm. He's in the purchase department, one of the team members in the purchase department. That's what he wanted me to announce. And he's helping our students to, right, go across and export. One of my colleagues who's there as the audience, we are now coming out with a platform. And I would like to say thank you to Dharmarajan sir, right? We are coming out with a platform which will be an extension of India Mart. I'm making that announcement because the platform is ready. Samir sir has also given his ideas. I want to get it finally vetted by Parimal sir and of course elders like Anjay ji, and then we will launch it. It will be an extended version of India Mart. So we start today's session with this saying. And this is what these colleagues have done. So they have overcome things and they have kept on growing. So my first question, and this is a common question which I had given to the respected panelists, is to Vivek ji. What are the challenges that you faced during your entrepreneurial journey? and how did you overcome them?
Okay, I saw the question earlier. See, in your introduction, you said about Kerala and Alleppey. We are based in Kerala. In general, has a very bad reputation for business. I think in the last ease of doing business, Kerala came, last but one, 28th, 29th position was shared by 6 states. So, and within Kerala, there is Alleppey, which is considered to be the the hub of trade unionism, and within Alleppey, which is called the Coir, which is a Coir mat business, which unfortunately or fortunately we are part of, is that's the starting point of all the unionism. So actually the first trade union in the whole of India started in our factory. It's in the history books. So,
so did I hear you right? The first trade union started?
In Vilayangudekka, yeah, it's part of the history book. But the community, CPI, not CPA, CPM was not there. It was started by CPI, the old version of CPI. So anyway, so when we look at even my journey, I have been in this business for 25 years. It's not one big hurdle. It's every day. So it's every day you deal with it. But I have to say it's getting better. I think there were a lot of things which was done in the past. And both sides have to take responsibility. And I would, even in working in this environment, I would not just blame the unions. The managements also have to take some responsibility in where we are. You cannot, because anything which is existing today was part of willingly or unwillingly agreeing to work in that fashion. So there were two parties to it. You can't clap with one hand, right? The same way there are two parties to it. And there were a lot of trust issues. There were a lot of, one of the simple things I learned is empty threats. From the management side, there were a lot of empty threats. You never ever make an empty threat with the union. And there were like a series of threats. For example, I'll give you a small one. Every time something would come up and say, no, we'll shut up and leave for Tamil Nadu. And for decades, nobody went for Tamil Nadu. So when I had a time to leave for Tamil Nadu, it's like that old saying the tiger is going to come in the village. No, when the tiger came, there was, people thought they were still bluffing. So, as far as challenges are concerned, even now, so I have, I think 6 meetings on next week coming up with different unions for different issues. Yeah, we are managing, but the good thing is over the period of time, we have been able to have a rapport and have some basic ground rules established. One good thing is in the last 7 years, we haven't lost a single mandate due to strike. Not a single mandate due to strike. Yes, but we spend a lot of money, not money, actually time, spending and discussing and building trust and all that. But there is a basic trust. We have put the boundaries. Basically, we have set clear boundaries and saying this is what is possible. This is not not possible. And we have been empathetic as well. So if a worker is earning, say, 1,500 rupees a day, we cannot go and ask them to reduce that wages because their lifestyle, not about this, what they eat, what they wear, which school their kids go to, what bike they're riding, everything depends on them. We can't ask them to reduce the wages. That is not a solution. So you need to understand that. You need to have that empathy. But the only thing is, as a businessman, what do I care about? I care about my unit cost. Unit cost is basically, you have a numerator and a denominator. Your denominator is the wages. Denominator is your output, numerator is the wages. Wages you can't change. So only thing you have to do is increase the output. So we have been concentrating, working with them, explaining to them, saying that this is my problem. My problem is not your wages. It is what it is. Should this be the wages? Probably it should be less, but we can't reduce it. So what we need to do is we need to maintain this wage. We need to increase the output. And we have been trying to convince them, and that's what we've been trying to do. And I think we have, are we where we should be? No, but I think we have made tremendous progress there.
So one big lesson for all budding entrepreneurs and students, MBA students, and of course, business people, treat your stakeholders with empathy. So there was a word that was, so I had sent the questions across, responses I am also hearing because I'm also busy at work. I'm hearing verbatim, and I caught one very important word that Vivek ji said, empathy. You empathize with people. Incidentally, I didn't know that the first trade union record, dubious record possibly, or good record, I do not know, right? So anyway, whatever is it, it's a record, right? So please understand, not a single mandate lost.
Yeah.
That's an achievement. And immediately I started clapping, Saurabh started clapping, right? I can't see what Saraswati ma'am is doing. Even Sapnu started smiling. That's a big achievement. The reason is very simple. Empathize with them. And by the way, it is not one big hurdle. Daily you have to go through the challenges. And I know this because I should not say this. Why I invited Vivek ji is, we had these classes on Saturday and Sunday half day. And I could sense that, once I talked to Vivek ji, and I should confess, I could sense that he was tense about something. Tense. So then I asked him, sir, aap kahan se ho? He said, yeah, this. And then we started talking. I said, whenever I do this session, and then COVID has been so kind to give me an opportunity to present these people to the world. So I thank the coronavirus actually, right? So without them, this Menon Mantras at Hunger Collective would not have happened. I would have gone to the grave without doing any of this. So that is one thing that sir said, empathize. Second, don't look at what they get. Try and increase their output. Try and decrease their output. Great learning, sir. Right? And third, entrepreneurship is about facing day-to-day challenges. So please understand, all budding entrepreneurs, business people, and I'm sure all of you are doing it, especially the business people, right? It is being reinforced here. There is opposition coming on day-to-day basis, but you still take it on. Which brings me to my second speaker. The same question to dear Sapnu. What are the challenges that you faced during your entrepreneur journey? How did you overcome them? So the same question I would like to repeat to all four of you.
Started to talk about it a little bit at the introduction itself. The fact that it was already an established school for 11, 12 years was, I think, not a challenge, but I was inserting myself into something that was, set and doing well. And, First International School, the vision was to kind of pioneer the, education landscape in Kerala, so to speak. So how do we do that better? I really like the quote that you have put on the screen right now. Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you once thought you couldn't. And I think it was very important for me to understand the context, and the people very well. Before I just suddenly came in and started to initiate things top down. So it took time, I would say. It's not a challenge. You have to respect the context you're in. But because I was the person who was new over there, I had to kind of take my time in understanding and in formulating what the next strategy should be. And also the fact that we should take a strategic approach, as opposed to maybe a day-to-day kind of an approach. So that was something that, again, I can't call it a challenge. I was faced with that. And then, as I said, I had to do my own education of the world of education because, I was thrust into it with no experience. So that was also something that, but then, finally, when you like what you're doing, all that kind of goes out the window, and then, the passion is what remains. So you end up getting out of that and really doing whatever you had planned to do initially. But taking the team along with you, so important, so that there is buy-in from everyone. So I think just kind of respecting that, just because I was somebody's daughter, it doesn't happen. You have to kind of garner that in a way. So that was something that I had to work with when I started.
So two very important, three words that came in. Possibly some of you are succeeding your family business. So need not be that you have a passion for that, but you have to develop a passion for it. So dear Sapnu used that word twice, right? One in the introduction, second time. So this is something that, and she's respectfully saying that, she corrected me saying that this was started in 2003 and it was doing well. It was doing well. And then I came into it and I had to make it better. So one, and I was just going and remembering the earlier speaker who said that again, follow your passion was that session. It was Miss Bindu Tom who said that, okay, that not necessarily you should have that passion. You can always develop it on the way. And once you develop it, as dear Sapnu said, it's all about teamwork. It's about setting expectations and it's all about teamwork. The second school is also open and they are now expanding. Point again, very important learning. Ensure that the team is aligned with your goals. That's exactly what is said. And once you have the passion, other things step out of the way. Which brings me to the third speaker, same question, that is dear Saurabh. And Saurabh would have something very interesting to tell me and to others also, because it's a bit of a different story, because he comes from a business family, Dadaji had started it. I'm sure this was a family managed business, maybe not as fifth generation as Vivekji, but definitely second or third or fourth generation. And then he had some challenges. So, but it's the same question to you, Saurabh. What are the challenges that you faced during your entrepreneurial journey? How did you overcome them?
First of all, I would like to thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. As you have already mentioned that the business was started by my grandfather. I'm the third generation. And in 2014, post my grandfather and father's demise, me and my brother took up the challenge after the family separation of running the business that we got. And the major challenges that we overcome was, when elders are still sitting on above you, you take certain things for granted and you look at certain aspects of business rather than looking at the business as a whole. So that was the biggest challenge, that overnight we had to look at everything. So that was something which hit us hard, and we were looking at a long road ahead.
So one sec.
Yeah.
I'm doing this deliberately. So are you trying to tell all the audience, and I know my audience, I've kept saying this, Vivekji, Swapniji, sorry about this interruption, Saurabh, but is there a message that you're sending to all business people that they cannot look at some aspects of business? They have to look at all the business as a whole. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, sir. As Parimal sir always used to say in class, whenever he used to ask, what do you do? We all used to say, I'm looking after certain aspect of the business. And he used to always get angry and say, what do you mean by looking after? So that's where, things struck us that, we have to be an entrepreneur in true sense, not just look at sales or finance or HR. It has to be the complete business as a whole. So even though our parents are there or our guardians are there, but we need to take up that challenge upon us and take it as an opportunity that with them being there, how can we hold the entire reins in our hands so that they can guide us whenever we need them.
So one very important thing that came from Saurabh, and I forgot to mention one more thing that came from dear Sapnu, is that one, look at all aspects of business, says dear Saurabh, and both Sapnuji and Saurabhji says one thing: you will not get respect just because you're from the family. You'll have to earn your respect. So many of us have this, ye mera sunta nahi, I am the owner's son, he's not listening to me. But you'll have to earn it. Because please understand, there is something which is called as blood equity. There's something known as sweat equity. Blood equity is you get it because of lineage, because of your parents. Sweat equity is you earn it yourself. So I think sort of if you want, you could share that. Yeah. Right? You said you were left with one peon and some engineers.
Yes, sir. So that was my second challenge. Yes. The second challenge was building a team. So as soon as the separation happened between the family, we were left with only about a couple of engineers at the plant level and one peon in office. We did not have anybody in any other department. So what me and my brother did was we started building a team overnight. We hired left, right, and center.
One sec. Saurabh, how old were you when this crisis struck you?
So I was 30 years old.
30.
My brother was 24.
24 and 30. Okay. So that's the context for this discussion. Please continue.
So we started hiring people, and we just had one thing in mind, that we do not want to hire somebody who's elderly, maybe say 50 years or 60 years, because they come with a preconceived notion. So the current age of all 250 people put together is 35 years.
The average age is 35 years.
Yes, sir. Average age of the entire company is 35 years.
So as a joke, let me tell you that I would, if I applied to your place, there's no way I could get it, but it's okay. Please continue. Okay.
So that was the biggest challenge, building a team which we could rely on. We need, so as you always say in your sessions, that, professionals are also required, as well as some people are required whom we can trust, and whom are, those people are homegrown people. So we set up with a combination of people. We had friends, we had family members, we had key positions hired by people who are having at least 10 to 15 years of experience in their particular field, not with age, but by their virtue of education. So that's how we hired people, and now we have a very good team, and we are building on to CEOs now. And the third challenge.
Saurabh, sorry to interrupt, but I know you have 2 lines of business. Before you finish, what are the 4 lines of business that you currently have?
So, the business that we inherited from my grandfather and father was mainly packaging, plastic packaging. And then we started agriculture, where we are providing plastic materials to farmers for increasing the yield of their crops. And the third line that we are now entering is making of components for solar panels in India. So the solar panel business is again with a fellow FMBite. His name is Vinit Mittal. He was a classmate together in FMB 13, same batch. So he is into manufacturing of solar panels. So we kind of, for him, it is a backward integration, and for us, it is a diversification. So that's what we are entering into now.
A real pleasure, Bete. And I also realized in this entire discussion before I go to Saraswati ma'am, that you didn't even speak about any negative thoughts about family, which shows your values and culture, right? And it's absolute respect to you that you are still holding that. And if I'm not wrong, your profile picture has two very elderly gentlemen there. Would you like to tell the audience before I go to Saraswati? Because I think that's something I've seen in family marriage business. Swapnu just mentioned about her dad. Vivek ji was saying, I'm proud to be the 5th generation. Your profile picture has, if I'm not wrong, your grandfather and father. So what is this?
No, sir. The profile picture is my father and my father's best friend, who was again as good as my father for me. Both of them have passed away. My uncle passed away in 2015. So all three of my mentors, my grandfather, father, and my uncle, all three have departed, and we were left with no one in 2015. So that
the learnings are with you to take you forward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Okay.
So that brings me to a third challenge, sir, that we had was how to create a, how to not repeat the mistakes that were done by family and create a charter between me and my brother. So as there was no succession planning, which led to the family separation, my mother, was very serious that, me and my brother should have a proper family charter so that there is no such thing that happens between me and my brother. So immediately we sat on and we had a very clear family charter as to what will be done by my brother and what will be my role, so that there is no confusion, and we have a succession planning done properly today with all the papers in place, so that these kind of confusions do not come in future.
So extremely important lesson from Saurabh. One, build your team, hire people that you can trust on. And third, succession planning, extremely critical, something which we sweep under the carpet, something which we sweep up under the carpet. So that was special for business. That last 3 lines was special for business people. Since there are many students here, I've got a teacher here among the panel members, right? So before I take the next question, the same question goes to a teacher also, who according to me is as facing troubles day in, day out, like Vivek ji is facing. Maybe not of that magnitude, but definitely every student is different in their own. And yesterday, I was talking to Vivek ji and Saurabh Bete and Swapnu ji. I was talking to an old friend of mine, and we used to teach together. So Sumedha ma'am was saying something, she was saying, you can't even touch a child today. The moment you touch a child, right, there could be a police complaint against you. And the best part is the child also knows that. The child also knows that. So I was like smiling, because my parents have hit me, my teachers have hit me. And she was saying, teachers today, they can't do anything. Even if you touch, it can go into something aggravated. So you'll have to get your way with the students. And by the way, students nowadays are extremely sharp and smart in all possible senses. So Saraswati ma'am, question to you. What did you do that, you were awarded the best teacher by a very respected organization? What did you do differently during this online COVID times?
So first of all, I missed the introduction, and I want to thank you first for giving me an opportunity to do this. So yeah, thank you for it. Now I take this further. Okay, to answer this, COVID time was just an added. Okay, I did do. I got into law. I got a lot of different opportunities during COVID. For that, can I go a little reverse on what I had been doing, which added to this actually? For me, life was.
But Sheetal, Saraswati, the moment you started speaking, Sapnu immediately put up the camera, and now she's listening intently to you because she's running a school, so she's getting a feedback from you. Go ahead, please go ahead.
Yeah, for me, I am like okay, I have a lot of things to say, but yes, I would like to answer your question before that. Okay, for me, school teaching I was not confined only to school teaching. There was a time where I was teaching in school, and I found that focusing on syllabus and rushing for it and not developing the concepts had a fallback on the children's understanding and all. So, I mean, children were having trouble, especially with Hindi. They were all I mean, it's not only with Hindi. Though I was working with Hindi and the concepts, I used to take it through storytelling, through games, through learning games, which made them happy and come to me to learn. So that I came to know from parents when they say, ma'am, when you told this, the child started reacting this way. When you told this worked well for my child. This was happening right from 2006, 2007 when I came to Chennai. So I saw that something, I mean, I didn't know that this was there. This was what was working indirectly, unconsciously. So what I did, parents used to come and tell what I could not do in few months or few years, you have done it in few weeks time. You have done it. How is that? What makes you what attracts children to you is what parents ask. And the grandparents, what is this Hindi tuition? Why is the child not going to Tamil tuition with the same fervor? So, and she's getting ready before I mean, I had a lot of these instances, which is making me tell this actually, which made me do things differently. Like, okay, uh, uh, handling children with a lot of inhibitions, with a lot of aversion for Hindi in Chennai, I would say. Children had a lot of aversion. I got children where they were hit by teachers. I got a girl who was hit by teacher, ma'am. Okay, I don't want to get into Tamil word now. I was just saying that she lost interest in Hindi, and 3 months was a challenging time for me. I said I'm not going to quit. I used to come home like this. No, I said this would have easily got away. If somebody said, I'm not going to teach your daughter. Yeah, no, enough ho gaya. Nahi, maine aisa nahi kiya. I knew that I had that in me. In fact, I went out of the way for that child because the child could not read and write Hindi letters, ICSE board in 4th standard. I said, I can do it actually, because I don't know what is the method. I can pen it down in hundreds of words or whatever, but that method works one-on-one very well with me. So I have a tailor-made aspect for every student. It comes something that they don't know, or it's not by deliberate, actually it's not deliberate, right? So it's something that they don't know, they don't understand in certain aspect. I use a different methodology and it works. It has worked with many students, sir.
So very important learning. In fact, my wife is also sitting right here listening to you very intently.
Hello Reshma ji, thank you. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. So yeah, so that has actually brought me, now I'm dealing with film stars also, film stars children. So I don't take pride in that. I also treat them normally. They are happy that I am doing it the professional way, actually. I'm taking a class, Sanskrit class for a school principal, where he's irregular. I don't like irregularity, but he's coming out of the way and saying, no ma'am, time is for you. I mean, lot of challenges every day, as Vivek ji also said in his business area. I face challenges every minute, every second, and overcome it. And if I challenges at home, everyone has it, and I'm glad that I'm facing it every day, and I want challenges, and so that I grow.
So, which brings me to the third question. But it is mentioned in every challenge there is an opportunity. Is that true for you? Can you explain it with an example?
Sure, sir. Sir, as you said, every challenge comes with an opportunity. So the challenge for us during the family separation was that there was no non-compete clause between the family members. So everybody was doing the same business, and we did not want to spoil the family relations further than what had been done already. So me and my brother sat down and we were looking for diversifying our business and creating whole new product line. So then came the opportunity of the agriculture product that we are dealing in today. And we grabbed that opportunity and we started dealing in the agriculture products. And today, within 3 years of time, we are one of the top 10 agriculture product suppliers in India. And that is how the opportunity was created. We were talking to a few people in the industry, and they said, why don't you try these products? They might work in your industry. That will give you. So being in the plastic industry, we wanted something to be related with plastic, because that's what we had learned right from the beginning. So this product, we started as a casual thing, and for 6 months we were trying to push this product in the market, and we were kind of bogged down with the results that we were getting. So one of the team member, my cousin who's there with us today, Yash Agarwal, he said, let's give 6 more months and see what results it can get. And we took it as a challenge, and today we are amongst the top 10 suppliers in India. So that was the biggest thing that we could get from that.
My dearest colleague, Vivek ji, the same question to you, sir. If you could just give me your thoughts on the same question. I'll just repeat the question for everybody. It is mentioned that with every challenge comes an opportunity. Is that true for you? Can you please, I'm sure it is true for you. Can you explain it with an example?
Yeah, I think there are several, but I'll stick to I think my value add here is basically on the labor side. So I'll stick to one example. I think this happened in 2007 or something. So we have this, it's basically export-driven business. So we have a packing crew, and there was a lot of indiscipline, and the unions were dominating everything. And if they don't like some part of anything what they're doing, they will just walk out. That's what they do. They just walk out. So we had this export shipment to go, and this had to be packed in a particular way. And they said with that wage, which itself was very high, they said they couldn't do it. And after tea, they just walked out. All of them just walked out at around 4 o'clock. So what we did is, okay, we put us in trouble because we had to ship out the next day. So we decided that we will shut down the factory. We put a closure notice. We put a closure notice next day morning, 5 o'clock, put a closure notice saying that this is not what we call like a tea shop where you can come in and go at any time. If you don't like something, we can sit down and discuss. But you cannot, and you need to, if you're doing a strike, you need a 2 weeks notice. You cannot just 4 o'clock without telling anyone, just get out. I mean, that was multiple things. I simultaneously called my customer. We always have very good, 2-week extension for my customer. I shut down the factory, put a notice saying that this is shut down. It was multiple reasons. I wanted to bring that there are no empty threats, like I said, saying that there has to be discipline. There has to be rules and, within a box which we work. And we are willing to talk. We are empathetic. We are doing everything. But there are ground rules. There never, that was in 2007. This is 13 years. We never had a situation where the people just walk out. So I think sometimes you need to use such opportunities to establish and solve it for once and ever. Yeah, that shipment was delayed by 2 weeks, but now we have more certainty. If at all there's a strike, we get a 2 weeks notice, but we haven't had a strike in the last 7 years, like I said. So I think with that one point, we're able to establish a lot of things. Sometimes you have to go through that pain to get things done. I look at it as an opportunity. If that didn't happen, it would be very difficult to send such a strong message. Thank you.
Absolutely super point. And sir, yes, I requested you to come as a panel member because of the labor issues, but you are a well-rounded businessman, sir. You could speak on anything that you feel would be helpful to the panel, for all my participants. Humble request. So please note, very strong messages have to be given at the right time. So somebody just walked away and they said, okay, good enough. They put a closure notice. So that's about sending. So it's all about one more thing. You can't use it. I'm so happy, Henry sir. All my teachers are also listening. That, as Professor Moradian says very well, customer is your king, but you are not his slave. It's a classic word that Moradian sir says. Because we all teachers keep saying, customer is your king, customer is your king. And Moradian sir says, yeah, correct. Customer is your king, but you are not his slave. So please understand, Vivekji realizes that there could be a major problem in union. He said, okay, we are putting a closure notice. Now you decide what is to be done. At the moment that was done, they also realized that they are talking with somebody who is not maybe somebody who can be taken for a ride. So when time comes, they can also act tough and they can be also empathize with the situation. 7 years, one incident sent the signal. 7 years, it keeps going on. Because now they realize, everybody realizes, the other person or other side can also be tough. So a challenge was converted into an opportunity, and that opportunity ensured that things will continue as normal. Wonderful message from two of our esteemed speakers. The same question to the edupreneur in our group, Ms. Sapnu George, right? The same question, ma'am. I'm sure as a lady entrepreneur, you may not like to say it publicly, but we know how India is. Right, as a lady entrepreneur, when you walk in and with this patriarchal society that we have. So patriarchal society for all the students here is the male dominates is what possibly that they believe. I think time has come for us to recognize right, the lady entrepreneur. And here is Sapnu George and a teacher, Saraswati ma'am, who is talking to us. So same question to dear Sapnu here. I'm calling dear Sapnu because I've had the pleasure of teaching my colleague here. So what were the challenges that you faced? How did you convert it into an opportunity? We have two good examples. Would like to have the third one from you also.
So sir, when I come in, I actually didn't see the
fact that we are in a family run business as an opportunity. I saw it as a roadblock, because when you're working, you're reporting to your father, there are there could be ambiguity in the relationship, where when are your daughter, when are you executive director, and there a lot of things in terms of reporting and clarity. So I first saw it as something that I just had to deal with, and I had to work around. But it took me some time to understand that like whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Kind of, it's better that we are working together, working on the same side and fighting the same battles. And once I started seeing it like that and understanding that there is a lot of value add in being in a family business, I didn't have the stress and the pressure that comes with having a board of governors to answer to, or a private equity firm, or any of the other things that I realized were in other school groups. Once I saw that it's in the family, I have much less hurdles to fight, and any ideas were met with little or no opposition. So it was just expansion, be it a small decision or a big decision. It was just the family that we had to. Once I started seeing that in myself, I going for mentorship and asking for advice, and like I said about getting your team on board, getting management, getting him on board was also something that I had to work towards actively, which I wasn't doing initially. So once I started seeing, learning to do that, I saw a lot of merit coming out of that relationship. So then, he also felt more involved, and I was getting the merit of his experience as well. Experience as an entrepreneur, not necessarily in education. His business is construction in Muscat, but it's okay if you fail, it's fine. He always encouraged little flexibility, and take all the risks that you want to scale up, but as long as you have a contingency plan, a plan B, a plan C, and as long as you're able to absorb the failure, if you can learn from the failure, that's great. Let it not be a failure that you cannot recover from. So this kind of thing I started getting more and more, the more I involved him, and I had to involve him in the process, and not expect him to do that himself. So I think that took a lot of learning. I think it's not a kind of challenge that maybe the other panelists had. It seems silly, it seems internal, it seems like something I had to tell myself, but it took some time to work around that, because being a family, you also don't want to mar any relationships that you have, because it's my father as well, right? So that was something that once I saw, like, I kind of opened my eyes to that. It was such a great opportunity that I had been missing out on.
One very, very good learning. This is for all the young colleagues here from Ms. Sapnu. Do not take your elders for granted. They come with a wealth of experience, right? And if you can tap on their experience, wonderful message, Sapnuji, right? They may come from a different business, but they may have their own ventures, but they come with a lot of business insights, right? And Sapnuji says, earlier I used to take my dad for granted, but moment I opened myself to his thoughts, and the main message to all the Indian society here, we should realize that there is a concept which is known as fail to succeed. For all the parents who are sitting along with their students, anything that the kids do, maybe teaching as a passion, or let us say artists as a passion, right? Menons is going to announce something for 2nd October, right? Very soon, all your announcements will come from your respective teachers here. Please understand, it's okay to fail. There's nothing wrong in failing. So wonderful message from the mentor of dear Sapnu. It's okay to fail and fail to succeed. And then you open up to a new world. You gain from somebody's wisdom. Fantastic message from 3 of my esteemed panelists, each giving their own perspective. One very important clarification here. No challenge is small, no challenge is silly. It is right. It is up to you how to take it up. And Sapnu says, right, for others it may look small, but for me it was about raising myself in the expectations of my dad, which for me I think is the biggest challenge, because you are not proving it to anybody else. You are proving it to your own family, and that's something she has done extremely well. I'm sure when her dad looks back today, I met her husband. He is extremely happy that his wife is doing so very well, and he's also an architect. Vivekji is also smiling because we have met the gentleman. He's so happy with his wife's achievements. And he says that proudly also. Sir, see, we are doing so well. I said, fantastic. right? Which brings me to a special speaker for today, before I go to Saraswati ma'am, right? And this is to you, Dharmarajan sir. What is it that we are doing together? So today I wrote down and saying, sir, please speak about your venture, and immediately corrected and put it down back to me, our venture. And I realized, I'm sorry, I said, I apologize. It is our venture because the idea came from me. But the execution is Dharmarajan sir, Subbu sir, and others. Impact Sure Technologies. So this question is to you, sir, right? And please mention this about what we are trying to do for all of them, Vivek ji, Sapnu ji, Saurabh, right? What is that opportunity that we are creating? Sir, I'm using the word we 3 times. I said that. I apologize for today. We are creating for them, please.
Thank you so much, Anil sir, for giving me this opportunity. I did not realize that I'm going to speak just now. The classic person that you are, that you always put me on the spot. And so thank you so much for that. So just for the benefit of all, wanted to mention that Anil sir and me, we've been talking for quite a long time on various activities. So Anil sir has started this wonderful initiative of Menon Mantras, Hunger Collective, and every alternate day seminars and Sunday programs, and lots of such activities have been initiated for the benefit of students, for the benefit of the business community, so that they can gain from the wealth of wisdom and the knowledge and experience that the experienced professionals would bring in. So that has been the initiative, and I have been personally a big beneficiary of all these series of lectures and knowledge sharing. More than lectures, I would say knowledge sharing and tips. Like today, so many important tips from a variety, from a multitude of people, from an entrepreneur to an educationist to a businessman to a coach. And it's really wonderful to see such experiences, so that the business community or the students and the alumnus of sir and the others around, the well-wishers around, can benefit. So sir and me, we were discussing as to how we can take this initiative forward. Can we now take this beyond just knowledge sharing? Can there be a way in which where we can, where the individual business owners can benefit by transacting, by interacting more amongst themselves? Can there be an opportunity? Can we create a system for that? So we were brainstorming, we were generating some ideas and things like that. And then that's when we thought, why don't we come up with a platform, a software platform, wherein we bring in all the entrepreneurs together on one platform. It will be like a mini chamber of commerce of sorts, and it will encourage each business person to transact, to give business to one another and support each other. And that's the main purpose. So Anil sir's motto has been to be a forgiver. He has created so many new initiatives just out of selfless love and affection and for helping people. And this is yet another, taking it to a different level, so that the individual business owners can benefit out of their own interactions between themselves. So that's a short summary of what we discussed. And so we thought of putting together a platform and announcing it shortly, so that all the transactions can be done through the platform, or it will be just a facilitator to interact. So that's in a nutshell what we were thinking of. Anil sir, you may want to add any more to this.
Definitely. So I'll just take 2 minutes on this. As mentioned by Dharma sir, this was not planned, but that is the idea, sir. So when I don't give you time to plan, you speak extremely well and you speak from the heart. So first of all, my apologies to put you under pressure, but sir, you made your point and you are to the point. So beta, all of you all business people, the idea is simple. Telegram mein a lot of messages have been exchanged. Vivek ji, Sapnu ji, Saurabh is already there. He's helping so many people. So everybody is sharing their experience. I got a loan at this rate. You got it at higher rate, right? And then they discuss, they go to the bank, reduce. Somebody here mentioned yesterday about Aadhaar. How can you link your telephone number to Aadhaar? Even that was explained point-wise by a dear student. Gani is putting down his requirements. He says, anybody wanting to export, please, this is what I'm looking for. So a Telegram group today has about 1,300 plus members. It started off just like that, not planned at all. Then I talked to Dharma sir and I said, sir, can we make this kids do business among each other? Because if Saurabh gives business to Abhishek or Abhishek gives business to Vivek ji, things will be extremely good. So sir had initially developed such a platform for a big multinational organization. He said, don't worry, sir, I'll give it to you pro bono basis. I will have to customize it. So there is a cost involved in it. But sir said, I will not charge you because it is something good that you are doing. And then Samish sir comes in. So here is one very important input. Samish sir comes in and says, I also want to give some values. We want to keep it a higher version of India Mart. So this is an important announcement that we are saying, because now we are about 80% ready. The last 20% once done, we will launch it. We will launch it. And thank you, Dharma sir. Also, one more reason I wanted you to come here is to thank you personally for supporting us in all these initiatives. Having said this, the last question, and this goes, we'll start with Saraswati Bag. Right, what is your message to dear students, right, who are facing challenging times? So I would like to ask the teacher in our group, right, whom I'm so proud that I could really teach, right? I'm really proud. I love the confidence with which I was trying to go back to the days in 10th standard where you were there with me, but this is really good, right?
I would like to share something. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, before you said, I wanted to share this. Thank you for giving this and asking me this. I would like to go back to 1994 when I was, okay. So to all here, I'm very happy that sir is a real inspiration, Anil sir. It so happened that when I was in 10th, my parents were a real support for me, and teaching was my passion. Yeah, so my grades dipped a bit when in the initial months of 10th standard. My parents were worried. My mother, thank God, she found Anil sir for me. Huh? And then I was the closest or the farthest, whatever. I was staying just above, so second floor and third floor. I used to go to his house early in the morning, sleepy eyes, and I was wondering how people from far away used to come there. And we were learning maths and science. So one thing I want to tell here is, I did hardly miss a class. I missed one class, I guess, and he asked me, how are you going to manage this dividends and shares, I think. How are you going to manage, not manage, how are you going to do this? How are you going to, I said, sir, I will manage, sir. This is the same tone I used. Sir, I will manage, sir. What manage? So he called me manager from then. Yeah, thank you, sir, for having that. I'm probably managing the whole thing now. Lot of things now with your inspiration and the way of calling Are Raja, Are Beta. Anyway, so sir is really, even now I call my children Nahi Beta, Nahi Raja. And here in Chennai, people call Auntie, Beta is for boys and Beti is for girls. How can you call me Beta? So all those stuff come here. So I have to handle, and thankfully with all my positivity and happy learning and giving, I'm able to manage all this stuff. I manage still. Fine, sir. So there was a point when coming back talking about 10th standard, one thing that you said, challenges. Yes, I would like to say one in 10th and one, something recently, quickly, not to take anyone's time. I failed in social studies in 10th standard prelims. I got 28 out of 100. I was helping my parents all through at home. I was doing all the work at home, morning. Even at the age of 7, 8, I was working. Though brought up in Bombay, a posh city for people who would think my house was, I'm really thankful to my parents for having brought me up like that, completely into culture and completely into, I'm more of a domestically trained girl, I would say. But then, yes, I failed. So I later on realized, why does somebody fail? That they don't understand a certain concept, that's all. So Anil sir and Uma auntie, Anil sir's mother, they told me, you come and write the paper at home. They used to give me their house. I used to go and write the question papers with, I don't want to put my parents down, who are doing so much, and I was working day in and day out with them, and they are also having a lot of aspirations for me. So can you all imagine how much, you can't, yes, I did slog, I did work. Sir was inspiration, sir and auntie were inspirations for me. I got 86 out of 100 in the board exams. From 28 out of 100 in prelims, in 1 month's time, 1.5 months' time, it was 86 out of 100 in social studies. I still have the mark sheet with me. So these things, and one more incident in 10th standard alone, I think that was a very good turning point for me to be a speaker. Yes, I was not a very good speaker, even though I am learning a lot. My mother used to push me in every elocution competition, participate in everything in school for me to become a confident and independent, confident though. There was somebody who said, how are you going to face the audience? Huh? You will just come and run, and you will just shy away and come. This speech that I have written is awesome in Malayalam. I had Malayalam in school, in one of the schools in yeah. So my mother, this is one story I would like to share, sir. In 10th standard in Malayalam, I had a Malayalam in school. My parents, again, my mother wanted me to take Malayalam because we speak Tamil and Malayalam both. Now I can, thanks to my parents, I know 6 languages now to read, write, and speak. Yeah. So somebody said that I have written this Malayalam speech very well for you. But how are you going to tell this? You will shy and run away. And I cried. I went home crying. I said, Amma, I don't want this. My mother said, this is, then that person also said, when you, if this speech is so good that I have written the speech so well that anybody who says this will win the first prize. My mother said, let us bank on this sentence. Anybody who tells this will win first prize. My mother made me talk this. My mother was not, this is just a 10th standard, she was not a management student. She told me to stand in front of the mirror and talk by heart, rehearse it on and off every time. And every time my uncle or somebody used to come home, she used to tell me, stand, tell in front of them, tell the speech in front of them. It was about importance of women's education in Malayalam. So I was unconsciously into that speech actually. And when maybe 100 students, probably 70 or 100 students, I was telling this speech to in elocution competition in my school when I was in 10th standard, I did win the first prize. I went and told, it's thanks to my mother. Though, I mean, I feel it is a big turning point for me over there. When I had my mother told and I would have ignored, it would not have happened. I listened to my mother and I'm very thankful for that. I'm grateful to that. Actually, I listened to her and some things motivated and certain things came. Now I'm able to take, now coming back to me being a teacher, I was working in a school where our principal, he has wonderful vision, and he used to tell only mainly teachers who are average students probably can understand the negatives of a child and mold them into and find out ways on how to work with them. So I grabbed every opportunity that came my way. And there is something called a TOT analysis that I would like to quote from NLP that I have learned. Try out, test, exit. Yeah. So try out opportunities. If it works for you, well and good. In fact, where I have been, I'm grabbing opportunities. I have seen that I am growing unknowingly and creating opportunities for others and parents. I mean, it has been a good journey for others actually. They say when it is with you, I don't know how I find out quick words or anecdotes or analogies to work with somebody whom they are fumbling with concepts. Yeah, this is where I find, whole life is a challenge. And then when I got challenging situations in my own life, like good that I can't, I did have, when they said, take care of your house, students are not, don't take tuitions. I said, I'm not taking tuitions. I'm helping children holistically. Every child is mine. I have one son and many children is what I always feel. So I'm not taking tuitions. I said, I'll holistically coach them, tutor them, probably try to, they come to me as a friend, auntie, this happened in school. So, and I make them do meditation, we play games, we play quizzes, and those things help them in their academics also. That I've seen, they're scaled in academics. Somebody who comes from single digit mark, less than 40%. I said, no magic here, 3 to 6. So I tell parents, water your own plant, nurture them well. It will grow to be beautiful plant one day. So, and that's what, and patiently working with perseverance has actually helped me. And with my son, when I'm handling other children, I see how I should be a better parent. And when I'm also a student, I'm also learning music and Sanskrit. So for a very long time, 4-5 years, and that is also God's will that has come to me from wonderful teachers. I have wonderful teachers I have in life. I'm grateful to God for that. Thankful to God. So being a student in the morning, teacher in the evening for 4-5 years, I have become a better teacher, better mother, a better homemaker. So I'm trying ways, and probably for somebody who comes off late, like I have this problem in life. I don't know how with my do this, do that. Nay, it's not do this, do that. It's like, see, there is some energies that all of us have. every one of us have good energies. So something that I tell them works with them. And I practice meditation, I practice yoga, and so tailor make things. So these things have, as I said, and things सामने से आ रहे हैं मेरे पास. So मैं बहुत खुशकिस्मत हूँ उसके लिए कि things start coming to me on its own, and I really work hard for it, and I'm happy that I'm able to set a base for everyone, and whether it's a language or a culture or people are looking forward to learn from me. That is what I.
Super.
So Karat, I would like to say one. Karat abhyas te jadmati hot sujan mandoha rasari avat jat te sil par parat nisan. It's a doha which says, yeah, even the strong पत्थर जो है वो भी घिस जाता है रस्सी के आने जाने से. तो हमें बार बार पढ़ने से हमारी बुद्धि भी अच्छी हो जाती है. That is what I would like to say.
Fantastic. So this is the reason.
Thank you.
Right,
Thank you so much for giving me this time.
My pleasure. This is the reason why Saraswati Miss has been given the Model Teacher Award by Rotary Club Chennai on the occasion of Teachers' Day. So that's how I decided I will get here, because we talk a lot about business, but challenges are there for everybody. It's there for a homemaker, it's there for a teacher. So I always keep talking about business. But here, I think today in that short interaction with Saraswati ma'am, we understood that even a teacher faces challenges. Even every human being faces challenges, and you have to keep growing. You have to keep growing, right? Wonderful, right? And for those who are wondering how I was in 1994, a bit more tougher than I am today, right? Nowadays, beta is a good word. You can use it for even a gent or a female. So that's something I find very good. So when I say beta, I can address anybody. But today that secret has come out, unfortunately. Dharmanand sir, since you are with IIT Bombay, you guide a lot of entrepreneurs, startups. You have been on the board of multinational companies. What is your advice to budding entrepreneurs? So Sheetal ma'am talked to students. What is your advice to budding entrepreneurs?
So budding entrepreneurs, if you ask me, they're full of ideas and they have lots of passion. They want to come up with interesting stuff that they want to do. Ideas on one side, execution is the key. I would say though I preach a lot of strategy and things like that to a lot of people, just to set the overall purpose in place, but the execution is the key. So unless you have strong execution, clearly planned, and then go for it, it will become very difficult. So I would say focus on the basic fundamentals. Make sure that you have a proper plan in place. Look at your cash flow, your business model that you're looking at is on the profitable, working towards profitable, not just looking at funding and just, as you rightly said, that if you want to, you feel that there is a tunnel, but you may be touching a dead end, and suddenly you go for debt and all that. Maintaining your cash flow is very important. Look and take your steps wisely, one step at a time. Don't build huge products and thinking that that will be the thing. Break it down, break your ideas into small, bite-sized, executable ideas. Go to the market, check the market, come back, fine-tune it, go with a larger one step at a time, and make sure that you keep pushing and moving forward.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I want all my participants to please put down your comments on the chat because these are very, very senior people, teachers, business ladies, edupreneurs, agripreneurs. The least we can do is we can thank them for their time. So one very important commonality in what Dharmarajan sir said, and I'm going to Vivek ji next, right, is that, whether it is studies or business, first Dharmarajan sir asks a question. Dharma sir asks a question. What is your purpose? So is it a purpose to study a tough subject, or is it a purpose is to anything? Either ways is to do a difficult job. Break it into smaller parts. Keep timelines. Vivek sir, before we finish with my edupreneur, you are such a soft-spoken person, sir, but I could see a tough interior in you today, and I'm so happy you said that. So, what is your advice to budding entrepreneurs and students both?
I think what you and Dharmarajan sir said is very important. I think sometimes we get very attached, emotionally attached to any product or service that we're offering, you need to understand whether it's a challenge or, like you said, it's a dead end. There's no point flogging a dead horse. At some point, you need to understand that this is not working and move on. And that does not mean you cannot be attached to that, saying that, you know, it will work for one day. That, I think that sense of, I would say, that vision, that sense has to be there. I think that's something when you have to develop. That depends on how close your customers to, close your customers, your markets, you understand the general environment in which you're working, and that's extremely important. I see that even in our business. It's not a high-tech business, but even here we see that people are, you know, just going after a dead horse. I would say, like, particularly in the things that what has worked for me, I would say is hire the right people, empower them on the management side, invest in training all the time. I think I was in Anil Sir's class, even though I'm 50, I was there. And then last week, 2 days, I was in whole day seminars on value stream mapping and stuff. So I think that's one thing you need to do, everybody. And I think you need to set an example. Just because you're the boss, or, you know, doesn't mean that you don't have to learn. Everybody has to learn. And that's something you need to do constantly. And yeah, I think we're running out of time. I think that's my 2 cents. Thank you, sir.
Very important message for business people. Be a student for life. Keep learning new things, and that's how you can keep cracking. So one colleague kept saying about execution. Another teacher mentioned to students, enjoy what you do, right? Plan it. Another gentleman, Vivekji, said, right, very, very critically, be a student for life. And that's what I really like. Anjayji's comment has come on the, Anjayji is a very, very respected industrialist. From him, if he's coming, and Dr. Vinod Nair, as he's talking about this, thank you very, very much. Saurabh Bete, you would give your inputs. And then I would like Sapnuji to talk to both students and business, because she's in that forte where she can talk to business people also and students also. So I want to end with Sapnu, but before that, Saurabh, I'm very keen to listen to you, bache.
Sure, sir. So, sir, I will take just 2 minutes. The first thing that, as Vivek sir rightly said, even I believe very strongly, is that the only constant is change. So we believe in that, and as a company, we always strive to change with the moving times and adapt to whatever is coming in the business fraternity and in the learning fraternity as well. Because we adapt to technologies, we adapt to the new ways of businesses. The ways of businesses 25 years ago were different as compared to today. So we have to keep changing. The second thing that I would like to share is that 3 main principles that we follow is integrity, hard work, and discipline. These are probably the key, pillars of any company or any person who wants to succeed in life. The other thing for me personally are team building and giving back to the society. This is something which I firmly believe that, you know, which results in success, as well as building a company which is not a generation long, but a century long, which can strive even after we are not there.
Giving back to society says, and ensuring we work as a team. But I can't give you a better tribute. It has come from your own intrapreneur, Nikita ma'am, who works with you. I call her an intrapreneur, an employee who thinks like an entrepreneur. She has written, thank you, Saurabh bhai. So the best compliment anybody can give is, right, you know, when they feel proud to be part of your team. I'm so happy, right? Yes, we end with a message from dear Sapnu, to very young lady, but doing extremely well. And the message will be for both business persons. Over to you, please.
Thank you, sir. So in education, actually, it's less of a glass ceiling that's there for women, because as you know, especially in school education, it's more women, it's women dominated. So in that sense, I've not faced a kind of a bar or, you know, hassles in the workplace environment, and we have ensured that our work environments are also not like that. So that the only thing I can say over there is that there will be challenges wherever you go. As a woman, you're judged differently, you're evaluated differently, but you just have to kind of block out all that noise and just keep going, treading your own path. And I feel like the pandemic has taught us now more than ever to just pause. just pause and reflect. And I feel my most strategic thoughts have happened during this pandemic, because when all the noise is blocked out, even I don't just mean noise which is bad noise, it may be operational noise, it may be, you know, just the day-to-day things that happen. When all that is blocked out for a bit, it's not blocked, it's all online, it's just transferred online, that's all. But when you kind of carve out that time for yourself to think strategically, it's the best thing you can do for your business. And I feel as a person also, to just process what's going on in your life, and, you know, to be grateful for what's going on, what all the blessings. That pause is something that we tend to not take very, you know, not give a lot of priority to, and it's pushed to the back burner. But I feel that is the most important part of growing your business, to kind of think on the next level. To scale it up, you need to have those pause points to reflect. So this, I think, is for a student, for a person, for you know, a business person. And then the second thing, I guess, for business people, I would say, is there is no right time to scale up. The time is now. The time was yesterday. So I think waiting for things to align, waiting for things to kind of come together, you know, and line up, is, you just keep waiting. So I feel you just jumping on ideas or things when it comes to you, when you think you know, you have the right ingredients, the right resources for it, do it and don't wait. And I think for my initial period was a lot of waiting and watching, and, you know, once you kind of get more comfortable and more confident, more experienced, maybe you I think the time to scale up is now. That's something that I don't know, I've learned from all of your classes as well, that you know, don't hold back, don't like kind of keep all those lessons, store it away on a note, and then, you know, wait for some bright moment and opportunity to kind of do it. There is no such thing. And yeah, for students in general and everybody, I think there is no substitute for hard work, and you have to be ready to get your hands dirty. And that means you know, getting involved in all aspects of the business. And even to work smart, you have to first, you know to work hard. And I remember Samish was telling us, you know, this, that all the different sections, all the different components of your business will be run by experts in that field, and it's fine that and it should be, and they are better than you. But you still need to know enough to you still need to know enough to know whether it's a good job or a bad job done, and that knowledge is critical, and to be able to get involved to as much as possible. So that working hard, no, I feel like there's just no substitute for that. You have to be willing to take up any role anywhere, and no one's too high and mighty to do that. And kind of, you're the only thing that's tying together all the different aspects of the business, who knows everything in the larger picture. So own that and feel responsible, because the responsibility given to you. And you know, in education, everything takes time. It's more of a value led business than a returns. Of course, you know that we didn't start this the schools looking at it as a kind of a profit center. It was more for the school to grow and grow within itself, and everything that is made is, you know, reinvested. So and it takes time in education, like everything takes time to show. So you have to be kind of patient and give it its due course, and respect the system. So yeah, being willing to kind of see your initiatives through and work with what you have is very important.
I end this, let's say, a common thread now. So last 2 minutes is a common thread. So first thing, enjoy what you are doing. The teacher says that, the business lady says that, the agripreneur says that, Vivekji says that. So one, enjoy what you're doing. Two, have a roadmap. Dharmarajan sir said that very clearly. Keep your purpose, have a roadmap. Third, execute, execute, execute. Work hard, execute, drop it into milestones, whether it is a tough subject, let's say geometry is tough, or a tough project. Saurabh wants to launch a new product, or my Abhishek, right? I'm so happy Keshe Shetty sir is here, the president of Indian Bunds Federation of Commerce. Sir is here, patiently listening to all of us. Today morning only I had a chat with sir. Right, sir has come back from Bangalore to Mumbai and is one of our foremost well-wishers. Right, and sir will also say execute with milestones and keep reviewing. One last thing to all of you all, but these are challenging times. The reason why we are keeping on doing this is, please keep up your spirits. Don't get bogged down by negative news. Please note, there's a teacher who has got a Best Teacher Award. There is a lady, edupreneur, who is saying, I'm going to scale up. There is somebody who has been right in the heart of the unionism, but still saying no strike for 7 years. There is somebody who lost his grandfather and father within space of months, had family disputes, but grew from 1% to 250%. There is a person in the panelist who is out there helping all businesses, mentoring startups, helping. Incidentally, Dharmarajan sir is our mentor at Men and Sedu World. He guides my wife and his team also, right? The idea is very simple. Times are challenging, but I will end with a line which is a cliche, but I believe in that. Tough times don't last. Tough persons do. And here I could have the privilege of getting you an example of some people who have done that. They have grown with challenges. Thank you very, very much. I will now say namaskar. I salute the divinity in you. Namaskar Sapno ji, Namaskar Saraswati ma'am, Namaskar Vivek ji, Namaskar Saurabh Bete, God bless you, and Namaskar Dharmarajan sir. Finally, thank you very, very much to Shanti ma'am. Different speakers at different, one in Chennai, one in Surat, one in Cochin, one in Alleppey, one in Mumbai. And Shanti ma'am has done a great job as always. Thank you, Shanti ma'am. Incidentally, Shanti ma'am has a marriage in her family also. Her sister just got married 2 days back, but she did not ask for anything. Manan Mantras continued through the week. Thank you very, very much. Daya sir, Henry sir, Sheetal Miss, and every single HOD for getting such a wonderful audience. Thank you, dear students. I hope we are able to add value beyond your textbook. So idea is very simple, to send a message beyond the textbook, and I think it's going on extremely well. I can't thank all my teachers. I know Swati ma'am is there, Asha miss is there, Monu ma'am, Monu sir is there. I think Monica ma'am is also there, but I can't thank all of you all, Rupali ma'am. Thank you for arranging the students. Students, thank your teachers, and thank you panelists. You have come and added value for all of us. Businessmen have taken something from everybody. I would end with one line: empathize. If you can do something for the poor and needy, please do it. Now is the time we can stand up for them. Thank you very, very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
Very,
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Gajaran Bete. Thank you. God bless.